What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, the draft prospects never end, as today we are going to be talking about another prospect, and his name is Tristan da Silva. This might be the first time ever I actually said one of the names correctly. How surprising is that? But today we're going to be looking at this player, what I like and what I don't like about him, and will we take him with the 11th overall pick. But before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below if you believe Tristan da Silva will be available at the 11th pick, and will the Chicago Bulls select him with the 11th overall pick in the NBA draft? Will he be our next Chicago Bulls player? So, what do we need to know about him? Well, we know for a fact he's 6'9". He's a forward, mainly the small forward, power forward, probably more of a power forward, I would say. But I think at the NBA, probably needs to get a little bit more strength if he wants to be a power forward. And he's 23 years of age. So, two players in a row that we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, that's a little bit on the older side when it comes to a draft selection. Now, as I mentioned before, and as I'm going to mention now, when you're selecting a 23-year-old in the NBA draft, you're expecting someone that can come in and make an instant impact. Can Tristan da Silva be the type of player that can come in and make that instant impact? Well, I think in some areas, yes, he can, and other areas I'm not too sure about. But his stats do look rather nice as well. Averaging 16 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and 2.4 assists, shooting 49.3% from the field and 39.5% from the three-point line. Those stats look very similar to the other 23-year-old we talked about in Dalton Knecht, I believe his name was. And again, it's someone that can come in and probably make an impact from the very get-go. And that can be something that a lot of teams can use. Someone that might not have the highest upside, the highest ceiling, for example, but someone that will come in and do his job and do it well and be part of a team, maybe not as the superstar, but as a role player, as someone that can be very valuable. So those are the things you got to keep in mind. And with that being said, what are his strengths and what are his weaknesses? Well, the first strength that came to mind for me was his ability to spread the floor. I loved how he was able to shoot the three. You might be saying, well, look, it's just a catch and shoot player. There's a bunch of them in the league. Well, yes, of course, there are a bunch of catch and shoot players in the league, but the Bulls are sorely lacking for three-point shooting. Now, he definitely doesn't have the shot profile, from my perspective at least, compared to Dalton, but his form from the three-point line, in my opinion, looks good. He has a quick release from three. Some of the highlights I've seen, he's able to get that shot off very, very quickly. I think that suits him very well for the NBA. The NBA, players are coming at you quick and fast. They're not going to slow down and let you shoot the three unless you're not good at it. You know, for example, if we let Andre Drummond shoot a three, no one's going to defend that. But if you're good at shooting a three, they're going to be on you. So getting your shot release to be quick, it makes it harder to defend. And I really do like that about him. He's good in the corners. He's good in the catch and shoot. Those are things that are obviously going to be very valuable. He's 6'9", and he's about 220 pounds. So ultimately, that's a really good thing as well. Good frame and good size that he could add to the Bulls as a small forward or a power forward. The Bulls clearly lack in size. So if you're looking for specific needs, he could fit that need. He's also a willing player. He's a team player. He's a willing passer. He's a team defender. And those things are going to help him at the NBA level as well. When you can fit into your role perfectly and you can do your role well, that's always going to be a plus at the NBA level. And as I said, kind of an instant impact player. That's what you're hoping for, at least. That's what I put in my strengths category. Someone that can make an impact right away. And if he doesn't, then that's probably where his weakness will lie, if he can't make that impact. But considering he's 23, I'm going to assume he will make that instant impact. Lastly, he has a rather surprising post-game. This is something I didn't necessarily know about him. It's something that I saw from a scouting report on the strengths and weaknesses, and it's also something I kind of seen in the highlight videos that I watched about him. The fact that he can finish with both hands, the fact that he can really push people out of the way, good positioning in the post. And it's a really nice attribute to have for a forward, because I want to give you a spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give you something that, I think a lot of you guys will know anyway, but still important to say. You don't have to be a center to actually play in the post. Sometimes, again, Russell Westbrook is a point guard that plays in the post most of the time. You can be a different type of player that can enter the post and do work from there. Someone that is a willing passer, by the way, so he could probably pass out from the post very nicely, but being able to outsmart your opponents in the post is something that's very valuable. Which brings me to another thing as well. I'm adding strengths upon strengths here. He has a very good, at least in my opinion, shot selection. We've talked about a lot of players that have very questionable shot selections at the end of the day. At least from the highlights I've seen, he's very crafty. He takes the right shots. He takes shots when he needs to take shots. And those shots are usually high efficiency type shots. Now keep in mind, he's shooting 49.3% from the field, close to 50%, which is something I really do like to see in forwards. And again, considering some of the weaknesses that he has, having a high IQ and having good shot selection is definitely a bonus in your in your categories, which is extremely nice. But there is a couple of weaknesses, some minor weaknesses that I have with him. So, he's not very athletic. That's the first thing. He's been seen everywhere. I don't think I've seen this player really dunk the ball that often, but he's more crafty than he is a dunker. I guess an example of this is Kyle Anderson. Again, I'm pretty sure maybe Kyle Anderson can dunk, but you don't see it very often with him. He's not someone that's going to beat you with accelerated speed and athleticism. He's crafty. He has maneuvers that's almost unguardable because it's how slow it is. Someone that's so slow in everything that he does, he manages to make an impact in that way. I'm not saying Tristan da Silva is going to be the next Kyle Anderson or anything like that, but I'm saying it does remind me a little bit of him. He's not as slow in terms of his shot mechanics and in terms of how slow he is from shooting the three or anything like that, but since he's not that athletic, he uses other ways to beat you. High IQ shots, easy shots, and I guess shots that we know for a fact will not be difficult and stuff of that nature. So that's a weakness, but also because of that, there's another strength that comes alongside of that. And that's a good thing. When you have a weakness and you can find a way to rectify that weakness, that's always going to be a positive. And I did also, for a weakness, not the best at driving to the rim, which again makes sense. I don't necessarily think he's going to be a guy that's going to be posterizing people or catching alley-oops or being elite in transition or anything like that. Again, he has high IQ shots. I think he could beat his man based on the skill. He's a good dribbler as well, it seems like. He could beat him based on skill, but if you're going purely on athleticism, there will be a problem there in my opinion, and therefore driving to the rim might not be the first thought in his mind mostly. We'll have to wait and see. And something I mentioned in the last video, and I'm going to mention here, at 23 years of age, how much improvement and development and potential is there in this player? It's a question that we need to ask every time you go for an older individual. Is there potential there, or has he peaked at the age of 23? There's loads of players in the NBA that peak at that age. Is Tristan da Silva going to be one of those players, or is there something in him that's going to continue to elevate at the NBA level? It's a question, and it's always going to be a weakness if that question isn't answered properly. So that's all the weaknesses I really have for him. I don't necessarily think he's a terrible player to pick, but with that being said, should we pick him with the 11th pick in the NBA draft? Well, mock drafts that I've seen has projected him to go, I guess, within middle of the pack of the first round. Some people even suggesting he'll go into the second round. I see enough in him for him to be a first round talent, in all honesty. But I don't think he's a lottery talent, from my perspective at least. I think there's good offensive attributes to his game, but ultimately at 23 years of age, is he the instant impact compared to a guy like Dalton, for example? I honestly don't think he is. I do think there's liabilities in his game. So I'd very much be questioning selecting him over a couple of other guys from a forwards perspective in the draft, in all honesty. Am I going to cry about it if we selected him? No, because again, I want instant impact players, and if he can deliver that, then I'm going to be okay with that, obviously. But judging by the people that I've seen thus far, from the forwards, the centers, and even the guard positions, I would definitely put into question why we would select him at 11 compared to the other guys we could select. So that's my honest opinions on him. Whether that's rightfully or wrongfully so, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.